Hi all, thanks for joining. We're going to give it about 30 seconds or so to have other folks trickle in. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started and folks can just join in as they come. So, hi everyone, welcome to our training today on educating your network, not just an ask. Before we formally get started, we're going to do some housekeeping. So, next slide. This meeting will be recorded. The recording will be emailed to participants with any other materials within a week. We will be taking questions in the chat today. And for the sake of time, we will hold all questions until the end. So please feel free to put them in the chat to everyone or chat me, Ali Rahimi, privately, and we will try to address all of your questions before the training concludes. If you need any technical support for the meeting today, please chat tech support from the pull-down menu. And we ask that in the large session, all attendees, please mute their microphones unless you're called upon to participate. Being on camera is optional. We do have closed captioning available during this meeting. You can turn that service on in the menu bar, and the recording will also be sent with captions. And we very much value your feedback, and we'll have a short evaluation for you to fill out at the end of this webinar. And we ask that all participants have respect and allow grace for one another today. And please experience this training how you learn best, and let me know if there's anything I need to know. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Ali Rahimi. I'm the grassroots manager for Voices for Healthy Kids. My role is to help campaigns with grassroots strategies through accessing grassroots networks and providing technical assistance. I'm joined today by Robin Williams, campaign coordinator and member of the National Board of Directors for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, also known as the NAACP, and Dahi Wolf, the early education policy analyst for Kids Forward, a nonprofit and Voices for Healthy Kids grantee based in Wisconsin. And today we will be presenting on the importance of educating and engaging your networks. Slide. So these are the goals and objectives for today. We're going to discuss how to create grassroots champions through storytelling and educational opportunities, review engagement principles, and showcase real-world examples from Voices for Healthy Kids collaborators and grantees. And hopefully by the end, you all learn some of the best practices for educating and engaging your networks. Slide. So first, we're going to go over grassroots engagement, what it means, what it looks like, why it's important. Slide. So there are 4 key components of a grassroots program: research, recruitment, engagement, and retention. And today we're going to focus on that engagement piece and the role that education plays in that. So what is grassroots engagement? I like to think of it as a form of community engagement. To paraphrase the CDC's definition, community engagement is essentially working with people who have the same interests as you do to address issues affecting the community's well-being. Engagement efforts are important because they can help more people understand the issues that your organization or campaign is addressing. And as a result, it makes them more willing to support your cause. Slide. So let's say you've already identified and recruited your grassroots advocates. From there, it's important to know how to engage them. And the key to engaging grassroots activists is understanding why they're invested in your issue. And what they share can become a way to cultivate them into leaders that you rely on to build relationships with decision makers, convey your message to media, and share their personal stories in support of your issue. Slide. So I want to review the concept of the ladder of engagement, which will dive more into the importance of engaging advocates. So this is the ladder of engagement, and you'll notice it includes 4 steps and it goes from bottom to top. There are different models for the ladder of engagement out there. So depending on which model you use, there'll be different steps. But for now, we'll focus on awareness, engagement, involvement, and promotion. So how do you navigate the ladder? Let's start at the beginning. Say a potential supporter becomes aware of your campaign through an event they attend or by something they saw online, and then they decide to sign up for your mailing list on your website or follow you on social media. Your job from there is to engage with them. You want to welcome them and thank them for their interest in your organization and cause. And you might share more information about your organization, success stories to establish credibility, or you might share resources to help them engage with your ongoing work. The end goal of all of that engagement is to develop that supporter from someone who just follows your organization to someone who's actively involved. And you want them to take action eventually by volunteering or contacting lawmakers. If you're truly able to successfully engage them, they may even promote your organization or your cause within their personal networks, adding to your list of supporters. So it's really about how you build up a potential advocate into a fully fledged one that really aids and adds to your cause. Slide. So once your campaign has recruited advocates, it's important that you keep them engaged with your campaign so that they stay motivated and willing to take action. And this requires regular communication, not just activation emails when you need them to write to elected officials. Some campaigns put a lot of time and effort into recruiting advocates, but then they fail to maintain communication with them. An advocate is less likely to make a phone call, participate in a day of advocacy, or write a letter to their elected official during an activation if they don't hear from you until you want something from them. So it's important that you treat every advocate like a long-term asset, not a short-term convenience. If you're an effective advocate, this will not be your last campaign, and how you treat and include everyone involved in your campaign will impact your future campaigns as well. All advocates should be treated like valued members of the campaign. And one analogy that I like to think of here is the relationship with advocates as if it's your relationship with a friend. And if you only called your friend when you needed help moving furniture or needed a ride to the airport, they probably wouldn't want to keep being your friend. So by keeping open lines of communication and developing relationships with advocates, you will significantly increase the likelihood that they will take action when you call on them. So how does education tie into all of this? Slide. So it might be obvious, but education is a form of engagement. And the end goal of an advocacy campaign is to have your advocates take action in support of your cause. As we just went over in the ladder of engagement, people are more likely to take action if they're properly engaged. They're also more likely to take action if they understand the cause they're supporting, which is why education is an immensely important tool to transform your grassroots advocates into campaign leaders. Think of educating your network like watering a plant. And if you don't provide the proper resources, they won't be able to reach their full potential. It's also important to remember that while some of your advocates might have backgrounds in public health or advocacy, not all of your advocates are issue experts. Many of the folks in your network may have a general interest in your issue areas, and it's your job to tap into that interest and educate them on your issues to help them develop a deeper understanding of what it is you're working towards. And let's say that some of the people in your network are experts. I mean, even if they are, it's still a good idea to send them educational content because not only is it a way to engage with them, there's still an opportunity for you to shed light on details they might not be aware of, whether it's specifics about legislation or how the issue is tied to current events. A good example here is actually the COVID-19 pandemic. So, we were seeing in real time how the pandemic was impacting public health systems and the general public's well-being. And the beginning of the pandemic was really a great time to educate your network, both experts and non-experts, about how it was affecting the issues you work on and what your organization or campaign was doing to adapt to the changing landscape. Slide. So what goes into an educational message? Well, there's the problem, the urgency, the solution, and the hope. So first, you want to define the problem. Let people know why you're reaching out and what's at stake. Explain the issue you're advocating for or against and how it supports or is detrimental to your organization's mission. When defining the problem, you want to make sure that there's a sense of urgency. Why now? Why is the problem important? How will it impact the community if it's not addressed? Why should the people care? Urgency drives action, and people are more likely to take action when there's something to rally around. Then you have your solution. Let them know what your organization or campaign is doing about the problem and how they can help. And last, you want to add an element of hope. Don't just say that the problem will be solved. That's not very inspiring. You want to frame the message in such a way that you point to a greater good being achieved if the problem is solved. And this will inspire advocates to eventually take action. And something else you might want to add is a note at the end, letting supporters know to stay tuned for more information and opportunities to get involved. This will prep them for your eventual ask. Slide. So what does educating your network look like? There are a lot of mediums through which you can educate your supporters, and some examples include blogs, newsletter features, training and webinars, sharing opinion pieces and letters to the editor, and posting on social media. You can also use images, GIFs, and videos to educate your supporters. These are especially important to consider when you're aiming to share educational material through social media. So on the right are two examples of educational materials that Voices for Healthy Kids uses for our sugary drink campaigns. The first is a GIF letting people know, what sugary drink tax revenue can fund to improve the health of their communities. And the second image informs them about the amount of sugar in various sugary drinks and water. So these are just brief and simple ways to help advocates better understand the scope and impact that sugary drinks and sugary drink taxes can have on health and overall well-being. And they're also great supplements to written educational material. Slide. So when you're doing education and engagement work in general, one of the most effective ways to advocate for a policy or systems change is to share real stories that illustrate the problem you're looking to solve. Supporters can receive all the facts from the campaign, but they really need to connect with the issue on a human level to truly be convinced. They really want to feel something. So real people who have a personal connection to the issue are very important to convince decision makers, the media, and voters in general that change is needed. And learning about an issue through another's personal story is sometimes more effective than reading facts from an email or a tweet. And I'll say that grassroots advocates who are willing to share their personal stories and connections to the issue are extremely helpful in advancing campaigns, but not everyone will feel comfortable sharing their story. So if you do have an opportunity to build relationships and trust with your advocates, the more likely they will be willing to share their stories. And however you decide to educate and engage your network, it's also important to identify the most effective mode or modes of communication. One example I like to give is that during the pandemic, we've seen many organizations switch to digital communication. And as a result, we're kind of dealing with this email fatigue. So considering that, you may have more success texting someone rather than emailing them, because odds are they're more likely to open and view a text message than they are an email. So it's just about finding the best fit for what you're sharing, what your network is like, what trends do you see with your network, and figuring out what's the best way to communicate with them. So, it's also important to plan out how often you're going to communicate with your network. And it's important to remember that constant engagement and education is the key to cultivating advocates who are equipped and ready to take action when called on. I strongly advise that you create an editorial calendar if you don't have one. And when you do have an editorial calendar, start with realistic goals like posting content on social media maybe 3 times a week, or getting content like newsletters or blogs out to your supporters on a regular basis. Make sure that your goals can be evaluated and that they're doable given your campaign or organization's resources. And also take the time to educate your advocates and celebrate any accomplishments. You don't want every communication with them to be an ask, because remember that no one wants to be friends with someone who only reaches out when they need something. So take time to pause and do some of that preparation and celebration as well. Slide. And I want to leave you with this. Remember that grassroots cultivation and support takes work, but you are building power for your campaign in ways that will pay off in every aspect of campaign work. When grassroots advocates are given the tools and the support that they need to thrive, they can become key contacts before you know it, and that's ultimately what you're aiming for. What? And with that, I will turn it over to Robin Williams from the NAACP.
Thank you so much, Ali. Good afternoon, everyone. If I go out, I apologize. I am downtown. We were rallying in support of the infrastructure bill. Again, as Ali said, I'm Robin Williams from the NAACP. I want to explain just a little bit before I get started our Maryland Local Tobacco Control Campaign. This campaign came about because we had a preemption on tobacco sales. Here in the state of Maryland, before this preemption, each jurisdiction in our state was able to regulate the sale of tobacco. I live in Prince George's County, Maryland, which is probably the most diverse or African-American county, one at least, in the United States. We had an issue. We had an issue with our younger people buying single cigars to roll as blunts. Therefore, our county council set rules, set a policy on single cigar sales. When that happened, Big Tobacco, of course, worked with our legislators, and Big Tobacco sued the county of my county, Prince George's County. We won that in a lower court, but when it went to a higher court, the judge ruled that Prince George's County could no longer set its own policy for tobacco sales. But not only that, no county in the state of Maryland could set our own policy for tobacco sales. That was preempt. So next slide, please. So when I was asked to come on and help with this campaign, I was actually in my early stage of retiring from a large union where I did civil rights work, policy work, voter protection and immigration reform work. So I knew about preemption really working in St. Louis, other parts of the country, but particularly St. Louis. We were able to get a minimum wage bill pass, a minimum wage increase. However, after that was done, the state overturned it. The legislators overturned our minimum wage increase that we won in the city of St. Louis, and workers has started to receive that increase. Once that was overturned, workers lost the increase in pay. So it was very devastating. So I had some knowledge of the devastation of preemption, how it can help in some ways, but how it can hurt, and hurt especially communities of color. And so my first reaction to this, working with our partners, is that we have to really put a plan together so that we can educate, advocate, and mobilize for this campaign. Now, when you're talking about preemption, and especially in a state like the state of Maryland, which we don't have a lot of preemption laws, it could be very difficult to explain the devastation or the pain that this preemption could have on our communities, especially communities of color, Black and brown communities, where tobacco companies, they increase the advertising in our communities, enticing the sale of tobacco products. And so we started to put an education program together. That was my top priority, to educate about this preemption bill. Educate, and as we're doing that, we're always recruiting. And so a model that I use for each campaign that I would do when you have to increase the participation of partners or spokespersons or people that really are impacted by the issue, the first thing I think that we have to do, we must do, is to educate. So the NAACP has 23 branches throughout the state of Maryland. Just about every county in our state has their own branch and their youth and college division. And so first of all, they're one of our greatest spokespersons because we live it, right? And we experience the issues every day in our communities. But then we have other partners that we look at, those that are in the healthcare industry, those that are Latino, which we have a Latino advocacy-based coalition in the state of Maryland called Casa de Maryland. And then we look at, other networks that we want to bring at the table, even while we're planning this campaign. So we start to educate. You cannot have your people to advocate unless they understand, right? Then we started out advocacy campaign. Then we started to mobilize. So the advocacy where we are having young people to be spokespersons, telling their stories, showing up at our press conferences, writing op-eds. We were successful in doing that. We actually had 3 young people that wanted to be spokespersons for this campaign. And then we mobilized for the legislative session. Quickly, we had 2 sponsors of a legislation that will overturn this preemption. We were surprised we would get these sponsors, legislators, so quickly in the campaign. So therefore, we had to work quickly. And we started to mobilize for people to turn out for press conferences, but more importantly, to turn out for hearings, which was on Zoom. Legislators did Zoom hearings, so that was challenging, but also to do written testimony. We did trainings, of course, the press conference, and we had the Washington Post. They featured an op-ed from our president, Willie Flowers, who's the state president of the NAACP, and he was on several radio stations and then even picked up on a television station. Next slide, please. So, like Ali said, it's just very important to, I think I use the word map your relationships and partners. So we at the NAACP, we have a lot of partners. We have a lot of relationships, and we want each one of our partners to participate in our campaign, even if they're just sharing our information. However, we do go after partners that have strong common interests in the issue. So I think it's very important that you have the right partners at the right time, at the table, but you want to educate and try to include and mobilize all of your partners. Next slide, please. So education campaign versus the legislative campaign. So I've done both, educate, advocacy work, as well as legislative work. I think it's very important that we understand that each campaign, it has to be a strong education. This was even more difficult to explain preemption. So I am just really grateful that Voices, American Heart Association, constantly did trainings for us to attend to develop better language to talk about the issue of preemption. And we use that, right? The toolkits, we use the toolkits. And then the legislative piece, when you're talking to legislators, they even sometimes need to understand what we're talking about when we talk about, the so-called preemption. So we don't always use the word preemption. We will use examples, and we would use how pieces of legislation will hurt us, not just the tobacco preemption, but it can open the door for other preemptions to happen throughout the state of Maryland. Some preemptions are good, and some impact our communities, and very much so when you're talking about communities of color, and even sometimes, communities that have a large majority of women, depending on the piece of legislation. Next slide, please. And so again, we did a mixture of earned media and paid media. And these are our outlets that we actually mapped out and target how we were going to have a campaign in each of these areas, to the point where we worked with the Baltimore Sun in Baltimore, Maryland, and they did ad campaigns for us. Of course, we paid for that, but they did those ad campaigns, and that went off really well, not just in Baltimore, but throughout the state of Maryland. We also developed an application, a tool application. We paid for it, of course. And in that application, we had a draft letter where people can take our draft letter, they can edit it, and they can use it to send it to their senator, and as well as their House of Representatives. And that went off well. It went off so well that some of our partners said, we like this tool that you all are using, and where did it come from? We would like to do it on other campaigns. Next slide, please. And so these are some of our examples of the earned media. Again, we were excited and really proud that our this issue got into the Washington Post. They actually called us and interviewed our president, and this was a big thing for us, especially because there were so many competing pieces of legislation and issues last year and this year because of the pandemic. And of course, here we have another one of our partners talking about the tobacco products in the state of Maryland. Next, please. The social and digital media. So we had two bills. We had a House bill, we had a Senate bill. Our bills got into committee, but they did not come out of committee. We were very excited that it was so much conversation around this, that the hearings were strong, and we turned out very well for these hearings. Our testimonies were strong. We believe that those that testified, especially our youth and college representatives, they were strong. And it really set us up to, although it didn't get out of committee, we hope that we have a good chance in the new legislation for us that is coming up in January. So we had to say, after the session was over, the legislative session was over, what do we do? And as Ali said, the emails are a lot, text messaging, I'll tell you, the text messaging apps to use that is expensive. So we decided we were going to do a social and digital media campaign. We were going to up what we were doing in social media and digital. And so our goal was to define what the organization wanted to accomplish, right? And this is with any campaign. Accomplished with communicating the message and the action needed, right? The urgency of this, the urgency of we must continue to talk about this. And then the goal, right? What is the goal? How do we solve this issue? And that was, we want to push to people saying that this should be a priority next year when it comes to supporting legislation. Next slide, please. So we started in the month of August, September, and October. We put on a strong social media campaign. And then and it really was to communicate the message. And these are the bullet points that we used to think about how we do this. Each day for 3 months, we put a different piece of information on all of our social media networks. And it was shared with the national NAACP, as well as a lot of our partners. Most of our partner organizations in this campaign, which we had about 8 solid partners in this campaign, they shared it on all of their social media networks. And we did not stop with our trainings. We did trainings. We just did another training last Saturday doing the NAACP Maryland State Convention, which was an awesome training on communications for a successful campaign. And we used the tobacco preemption campaign for our example. Next, please. Again, our social media, this is where we went the summer to keep this issue in the face of Marylanders, as well as legislators here. And I would just say that our Instagram page was a page that wasn't visited a lot, but we upped our numbers and who looks at our Instagram page. And it was because of our postings. We made sure that they were colorful. We made sure that they were appealing. And then we had to go back to Voices to pick up the new toolkit and information to make sure that we were on target with the message. Next slide, please. Again, here are some of the social media examples that we use. So we each day it was a different one, and it will say, like, if you see the community interests put communities first. This was about we having that power and leverage to decide on what's best for our county, especially when it comes to tobacco sales. And then that handsome young man there with the bow tie is President Flowers of the Maryland NAACP. And then this is a young man posting that we used from one of our allies organizations. But we also had these that had, their personal stories. As long as you get at least, a couple of lines, if you can't get a whole paragraph of people telling their personal story. And Willie definitely has one with the passing of his uncle from tobacco, of course. Next slide, please. And so quickly, I know I took up probably more time than I needed, but challenges and opportunities. So of course, the challenges, especially last year, was all of the opposing pieces of legislation and issues that we faced, not just here in the state of Maryland, but across the country. So we were facing, the mandates. We were facing, we were successful, and I was proud that we were able to get the tobacco tax passed here in the state of Maryland. But we also was able to get unemployment for our undocumented community. And so when we're doing these campaigns, we're not just doing it because of our agenda, the NAACP's agenda, or the coalition's agenda. We have to have partners, and there is all types of pieces of legislation that we support. And when we support theirs, mostly other organizations and advocates will support ours. And so we had the police reform and all of that pushback, which we were able to do a police reform bill in the state of Maryland. But I always say, in the face of challenges, there are always opportunities. No matter how hard the challenge is, opportunity is standing right in your face. So we looked at the opportunities that we had, and to put the message out, to create more partners was the opportunity in this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin, for that very informative presentation. I'm now going to turn it over to Dahi Wolf from Kids Forward.
Thanks so much, Robin. That was great. And you really set me up because you talked right at the end about personal stories, and that's what I'm going to address. I'm Dahi Wolf. I'm at Kids Forward in Madison, Wisconsin. We are a 140-year-old child and family advocacy organization. And our mission is we aspire to make Wisconsin a place where every child thrives, especially those furthest from opportunity. And the area I work in particularly is in kids 0 to 5, childcare, early childhood education. Next slide. So our goal is really a kind of a broad goal to kind of fix childcare. Childcare has always been underfunded. It's a little like healthcare in terms of that most of the industrialized Western world has universal childcare, just like they have universal healthcare. We do not. We expect it to be an individual responsibility, and it's very expensive and challenging. And of course, COVID's only made all of that worse. Why stories? Well, obviously it's that personal, emotional connection. And we've worked for years and years in producing really good data, and you got your graphs and your numbers and your convincing arguments, and they sure convince me. but they don't seem to move the needle for our legislature or for other folks that that have the power to make changes. And we felt like stories was a good way to go. It's something we've tossed around for, gosh, 3 or 5 years, and just never had the capacity or the expertise or the grant to do it. And we kept thinking about, well, we'll all get trained, our staff, on how to collect stories and how to do the media and produce them and all that. And what happened with this grant with Voices for Healthy Kids is that we were given kind of free rein to make this happen. And what felt like the best way to do was to actually go to the people that already do this regularly, and not think that I'm going to become an expert in collecting and publishing stories. And one thing that inspired us, and some of you on this call might be familiar with the Moth, and also some other podcasts or story-based kind of media. And they've become very popular in the last, I don't know, 5 years or so or more. And knowing that there's, that folks that are really attracted to that, and also folks that, make a living doing those kind of things. So we contacted people that we knew in the community that actually, are kind of professional storytellers, let's say, or videographers, et cetera. And using the funds from the American Heart Association, we were able to do that. It's not hugely expensive. Like, I think the videos that we created were about $150 each. The written stories, maybe 200. Podcasts, we mostly self-produce those, so I can't really put a price on those. But it's all something that, if you decide to make it a priority and you have the funding opportunity to do it, I really suggest making it happen. So how do we get started? Well, first we identified folks that we thought would be good. For the most part, this is grassroots. We do have some folks that we call our childcare champions, that are more like in the business community, or folks from law enforcement, or other kind of people that actually have some power. But what we really wanted was those authentic voices of people that experience the childcare system from their own, being a parent and being somebody that had challenges, or whether it was, financially, or transportation, or job related, et cetera. And those voices, we feel like, just so often get overlooked, especially if you're just focusing on the data, or you're just focusing on the the legislation. So we wanted this to be much more of a broad and deep grassroots effort. One thing that's happened with Kids Forward is that partly made this a priority, is that we actually do much more community engagement work than we used to do. We used to be much more just that high level policy. We no longer actually have a government relations person, so we're not as actively involved in that aspect. We're trying to build that support to then influence those decision makers. So this kind of aligned with our work in that way, and also our racial equity work in terms of making sure that we're listening to the voices of folks that are otherwise probably not part of the conversation or part of the decision making. So what did we do? We hired, like I said, these videographers and storytellers to go and do Zoom interviews, or Zoom videos of these folks, and then condense those down into either written stories, or maybe like 3-minute or less videos, and really just get the pithy, kind of the emotional, the places that grab you, that that give you some connection and some empathy to those persons, because you feel like, oh, well, that's my story, or I knew somebody else that had that, or I can see myself in that position, or it becomes real. And another thing that I like about this, in terms of what Allie's talking about, educating advocates and keeping them as long-term assets, I really feel like this is kind of a snowball effect, is that folks that otherwise might not go testify, or might not feel like their story mattered, or their voice, they were very comfortable doing this process. I mean, we had some great folks doing the interviews, and really made it seem like just a very casual conversation. And then they turn it into this product that the advocates were very proud of to share on social media, or to see their story and their picture or their video highlighted. And I think it builds on itself, so that other folks are like, oh, well, I could do that, or I want my story to be heard, or et cetera. So I think it builds that way. And we think of this as long-term. This is a story bank. We really tried to make the asks kind of evergreen. We didn't focus them on one specific legislation or this year's budget, et cetera, because we felt like this is really a long game kind of effort to influence the support for childcare funding. Next slide. And something else that we did that I felt like was important was that we, with all the videos and the stories and the podcast, we gave them names, which were usually direct quotes, kind of the most like heart-wrenching quote from one of these voices. And I think that's another way to really hone the message, is that it's the story, it's the title, it's the picture, it's the ask, it's all those parts of it. And I really feel like, as I've been saying, that this is part of a much bigger long-term strategy, in that making community voices important, and to really strengthen our grassroots and our partners and our advocacy. This has really been a great way to highlight a lot of our partners, and to kind of have those, especially on social media, et cetera, but to have these shared multiple times through different networks. And now here we are sharing, outside of Wisconsin. So it's kind of cool. And for the first time ever, our Kids Forward website now has a multimedia section where we highlight some of these. And we're hoping that it's not just going to be early childhood education. We actually already have a podcast that launched around juvenile justice, which is another area that we work on, especially with the racial equity implications. So I know that Ali just put that in the chat, and we'd love it if you just decide to pay us a visit and watch some of the videos, or read some of the stories, or listen to some of the podcasts if you're a podcast person. And there'll be lots more coming. This is just kind of like the very beginning of this. The podcasts, we've used themes for that. So far we've done a couple different ones on family childcare, and then we're doing one now on farm to ECE. So it's kind of like that healthy eating, like farm to school, farm to table, but it's for the 0 to 5 kids, and that's really exciting to work with our partners on that. So like it says, it's kind of a virtual library. It's a story bank. It's a place where these are going to be there. We share them with all our partners. We don't feel like we own them. We appreciate the funding that we've gotten to do this, and we hope that this will inspire other organizations around the country to make story banks and to make those voices heard. And I think it can really play a big part in changing the minds of decision makers and legislators down the road. It's a simple equation that I always like to say, which is that it's data plus stories equals successful advocacy. So that's kind of the direction I see it going. Just couple other little things to follow up, and these might come up as questions, but one thing we did is we came up with a script. So it's not just an informal, it's not like, oh, I have a story to tell, or it was a structured interview for all these. So, and they'd be a little different if it was say a child care owner, or a low-income parent, or a police officer, whoever it is. So that was very helpful to have that structure, I think. And also, I think just really feeling like we were empowering these advocates, that they are actually the experts in their own area. They're the experts that we don't have a voice of. Like, how do I experience going out to look for childcare? How do I experience accessing public benefits? How do I experience living in a childcare desert, or any of those things, or having my kid expelled from a program, and what do I do next? So I think that was really important. I think that's about it. It's been a wonderful project, and it's really been exciting for me, and it's been neat to see it connect to, like I said, the other, the fact that stories, I think, are, they go back that's what history is. It's our stories, it's our voice. And I think that, I've just been really pleased with some of the products and how this has grown. And I feel like it's just gonna keep going. So I think that's the last slide, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is just a sample of some of the things you'll see when you go to the page. So one of them is a video up there on the left, and then in the middle, that's a podcast. And then, people like to consume things different ways. So I just wanted to point that out. So the reason we did written stories and videos and podcasts is that everybody has a different way to consume media. And so the written stories with photographs are, some people just like to, have it that way, as opposed to, looking at a video, and people's attention span isn't very long. So, and I know podcasts are great because you listen in the car, you listen while you're doing something else, so just I think the variety was important. That's it.
Thanks, Dahi. That was great. Let's do a quick recap of today's main takeaways before we dive into questions. So first off, engagement efforts, they broaden the understanding of issues and increase people's willingness to support your cause. Consistent personal outreach is necessary to cultivate strong advocates willing to take action. Treat advocates like long-term assets. They're in it for the long run, and they will show up in your other campaigns. So you want to make sure that you treat them well. And storytelling is an extremely effective tactic in engaging and educating advocates. And having the right spokesperson is vitally important there. So we do have time for some questions. I've gotten a couple sent to me in the chat. The first one is, which social media platforms are the best for advocate education? And Robin and Dahi, if you don't mind, I'll take this one first. To me, it really depends on what you are trying to go for. Different social media platforms have their pros and cons. I will say, like, Twitter is a great one to get out maybe a fact and then a teaser for a full article or a blog or something like that. Facebook, of course, has the most users. So if you just want a large number of people to maybe view your post, that might be the best way to get that mass audience. Instagram and Snapchat are interesting because they are a little tricky in terms of when you post something, of course, on your story. Sometimes you'll have the function for folks to be able to swipe up and view whatever link that you want them to see. But most of the time, there's no way, whether you're making a post or a story, for there to be a clickable link. And so that may be a little difficult in getting folks to actually access your content. But if you are sharing, like, a graphic or an image or something, again, like a quick fact or something like you would share on Twitter, and you want to share it in a multimedia format, I would say Instagram and Snapchat are great for that in terms of stories. Dahi, Robin, I don't know if you have anything to add there.
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds good. It seems like our young people were enjoying the Instagram, although I don't know how to operate it that well. But yeah, and then Facebook, we had more shares, I think, from the Facebook postings.
Yeah, that's a great point, Robin. I think it's also important to consider your audience, who you're really trying to educate, or who you want to take action. It might be that your campaign or organization has a lot of support from older advocates, and you want to tap into that younger base, and that they're on Snapchat, TikTok, or Instagram, and because that segment is lagging, you might focus your efforts there to try to get them inspired and really help them understand your issues, or what have you. And I think that's something that's important to note, where especially we've seen in Facebook, I think Facebook has the largest growing demographic of older users. So, things to consider there as well. We do have a question for Dahi. How successful has the virtual library been in educating potential advocates?
That's a mixed answer. I mean, I don't feel like we've gotten to the point where it's successfully, changed any legislators' minds, but it's a slow build. And in terms of education, I think it's a mix of education and empowerment. So I feel like it's been good in that direction. I really feel like, to me, this is about accessing the expertise and the voice and the power of folks that already have that, and that we just don't, haven't valued or haven't lifted up. And to me, that is just so important. And it's also a glaring example of the disconnect between policy and funding and power and the needs of, our neighbors.
Great. Thanks for that, Dahi. Uh, so normally we do like to keep these trainings a little shorter to help you get some time back in your day. So I think we'll start to wrap it up here. If we could go to the next slide. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to join us in this training, and thank you again to our wonderful speakers. We hope this session was informative and helpful. And I just want to remind you to register for our upcoming trainings over the next couple of months. And I will go ahead and paste the registration links in the chat. There should be one for each of those trainings. You can also view these on our website. One more slide. And we also ask that you please complete a short evaluation of this session using the QR code or the link in the chat that I can post as well. The QR code, again, you just pull up your phone camera, you should be able to access the evaluation from there. It should direct you to that. And it's been posted in the chat. Thanks for that, Andrea. So thank you all again for your time and for attending, and again to our presenters for their very great experiences and the materials and resources that they had to share. So thank you all. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and don't forget to complete our survey. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.